500 units. So thank you for supporting, guys, and helping us build something big. So recently, from a couple different sources, there have been fresh CAD leaks of the iPhone 13, 13 Pro, 13 Pro Max. One in particular by Lou from Unbox Therapy gave a good overview. This is a dummy unit built from the CAD we actually received, and I wanted to go through that with you guys. This dummy model, by the way, really intricate, really detailed, $3,000. Made to look like the real deal. And MacRumors also posted a detailed report on the schematics, not actually sharing them, but detailing what they found in them. So kind of tying all this together, let's go through those details. MacRumors says, of course, the cameras are getting much larger. They're going to be protruding far more, 1.5 currently on the 13 and 13 mini to 2.51 millimeters, and from 1.7 millimeters to 3.65 on the 12 Pro Max. We can confirm that 3.65 millimeters is correct from the rear glass to the tippy top of the lens chimney. MacRumors says it's very likely that the reason why Apple extended the lens, not only because the components are getting more beefy, but also because they no longer wanted that top protrusion, the glass currently on the 12 Pro Max, to happen anymore. They wanted it flush. So it's definitely more formidable when you compare it to past iPhone camera lenses. Yeah, it's huge. They also do confirm that it's more of a square on all the models, so about 36 by 37 millimeters on the 13 Pro Max, which we can confirm. And a little detail I thought I'd throw in, so the 13 Pro lens is going to be ever so slightly smaller by about half a millimeter versus the 13 Pro Max. I'm surprised how similar they got them. The LiDAR sensor is about 0.2 millimeters smaller, so all in all, they try to get it as close as possible. A new detail that MacRumors claims is that the body thickness will be 0.17 millimeters thicker on all the 13 lineup. Now with our CADs, we have to disagree and say that it'll be 0.26, as Makatakari detailed earlier, making the overall thickness 7.65 millimeters. So this combined with the larger lenses means no, your old cases likely will not fit. And of course, Apple needed to put in a bunch more tech, battery life, better thermal cooling to make the 120 hertz displays possible. So it's not like they're doing this just because they want you to buy a new case. It's actually needed for the tech inside. Latest confirmation by Ross Young says, yes, we are getting 120 hertz on both Pro models. Apparently previously it was up in the air whether or not we would see it on the 13 Pro, but he says that yes, Apple was able to make that happen, likely in part to a lot of the miniaturization we're seeing inside. The latest one that we learned about is the Face ID sensor. Digitimes reports that thanks to a reduction of 40 to 50% in the VC cell sensor of the Face ID system, Apple was able to achieve that smaller notch. And by the way, got my hands on the 13 Pro Max screen protector, was able to apply it to my 12 Pro Max to give you a little comparison here. And it's not a substantial difference, but definitely some girth removed from that notch. Looks more pleasant overall, a little bit more screen estate. I think definitely will appreciate that. Notchless though, still waiting for it. Now MacRumors doesn't clarify whether or not we'll be seeing a standard orientation of the camera lenses on the 13 and 13 mini or that new diagonal orientation, which we've seen in the CAD files. They shared the standard orientation on the 13, just bigger and protruding more. And again, all of the lenses are now nestled in the corner, so slightly relocated, more out of the way. Apple's trying to make these a little bit more cuter, square-like, rounded. Also thought it was interesting that Apple made the mic larger on the 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max, at least from what we're seeing in these CADs and Lou's dummy. So now 2.4 millimeters across, larger than 1.15 before. This actually ties into something that Max reported on earlier, the fact that the audio will be getting better microphone thanks to beamforming technology. And speaking of microphone speaker quality, there's a new patent in which Apple details a new material that they can apply to the back end of a speaker to get more and cleaner output from future speakers on iPhones. And MacRumors speculates that the reason we're seeing the lowered power button, lowered volume buttons, and mute switch is because of those larger cameras. Apple needed a little bit more room inside to play with, so they had to lower and adjust those. And as a prototype which showed up on Twitter of an iPhone 10 with alternate power button sizing, placement, and a rounded camera lens, even a jet black color, we can see that Apple is often playing with many different variations of buttons and just overall looks and finding the one which fits best. We usually don't get to see this, so when we do, it's quite special. One thing that I would like to see come back Just like on the new iMacs, if Apple were to do white bezels on their upcoming iPhones, on the 13 lineup. We haven't seen a white bezel iPhone, I think, since the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus era. And it's been confirmed that Samsung will be producing exclusively the 120 Hz panels for the upcoming 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max. And real quick, thought it was funny, we got a new visitor. This dove has been following me around. Instead of the peacock, we got this guy now. Always good to see him. And Ming-Chi Kuo confirms we'll be seeing a massive expansion of millimeter wave 5G capable iPhones this year. And Kuo reports that as soon as 2023, we'll be seeing an Apple 5G modem. After purchasing Intel's modem business, Apple's been fast-tracking this project. This will make for a more efficient iPhone and, of course, likely better in speeds, bandwidth, everything. And man, Apple has been working on underwater iPhones for the longest time. Now, more patents showing various things from a shark mode to an interface that works underwater and a system that detects as soon as you become submerged underwater or partially submerged, giving you different options for both. As someone that lives in the Pacific Northwest with rain, it can destroy your user experience. This would solve for that. And it's interesting to see how this is slowly developing. And yeah, a shark mode where you can use a wireless network in areas where there usually isn't one. And for things like warning someone on a boat that there's a shark next to you. Apple's also experimenting with the Mac Pro cheese grater lattice design for future iPhones, both internally, maybe even an external shell. Not sure how good of an idea that would be with crud getting stuck in it, but they say that it will help with heat dissipation, something that is the topic of the iPhone 13 with the new vapor cooling chamber technology. Also, an interesting patent Apple is working on is Face ID heat mapping. So in 14.5, they added the ability to unlock with your Apple Watch on your wrist. Now, Face ID will be able to actually map the heat signature of your face, and one that's linked to you will help unlock your phone with a mask on faster or more reliably, safer too. And Apple continues to work on Apple Pencil patents, which work on the iPhone, the subject of many Apple leak myths for many years. Apple is working on it. Will they ever release it like any of these patents? We don't know, but it always starts with a patent, and as technology evolves, whenever they feel that it's time, they can call that into existence. And Ming-Chi Kuo delivers an update on the mythical flexible iPhone. This time it's an 8-inch device with a release date in 2023. This will be a QHD Plus flexible OLED display with a nanowire touchscreen interface. And from John Prosser, we got our first look at the new MacBook Air lineup, which also follows the new iMac color scheme somewhat. He was actually very close on that one. Gotta say, that guy is killing it. So the new MacBook Airs, various colors, and 2 USB-C ports, no MagSafe, so to speak of, which Apple has been working on, with a smaller trackpad, a white keyboard, and white bezel around the screen. So it seems like Apple is bringing white bezel back in. I think that's really cool. He's most confident in the green and blue colors, but we're likely to see a very similar color lineup to the new iMacs. By the way, I got the blue one coming, and that is the most popular color. And from a different YouTube leaker, Luke Miani, he's reporting that on May 18th, we'll be seeing the AirPods 3 being dropped in a press release on Apple's website. That's exactly how Apple dropped AirPods Pro earlier, so we'll see if it happens. He's also reporting that Apple will be dropping them with a hi-fi lossless music streaming service for Apple Music. This has also been corroborated by iOS 14.6, which in the beta code has confirmed that Apple is working on that. And in a report by The Telegraph, they're reporting that an upcoming Apple Watch will support blood alcohol level monitoring. That's crazy. Not only that, but also blood glucose and blood pressure. So Apple is really looking to make the Apple Watch an essential part of your health in the future. They also claim that blood glucose is not likely to happen this year on the Series 7. We're likely to see it next year on the Series 8. And Kuo reports on the iPad mini. So the 6th generation, likely to see in the second half of this year. It's just going to be a small bezel cut, mostly just updated internals, same chassis. He reports that Apple is working on a mini LED version of the iPad mini, which will be a complete redesign, hopefully more in line styling-wise with the current iPad lineup. And a fascinating jailbreak performed on an AirTag by Stack Smashing, I think you can call it a jailbreak. He was able to physically dump the firmware and get a custom URL to be read by the NFC. Just thought the process itself looked super cyberpunk. Interesting future we have. And yeah, guys, that's the latest Apple news. Stay tuned for the next one. Enjoy your weekend. God bless. Peace.